Hey, Coach. So glad you found the video. Couple things. First of all, make sure you subscribe and like. Second thing, go over and check out teachhoops.com for coaches who want to get better. Let me show you how to put a roadmap and become a nationally ranked coach. I've done it for 30 plus years. Let me help you do that over at teachhoops.com. Let's head off to the video.
All right, welcome to High School Hoops. Not sure what episode we're on. I'm gonna have to look. Oh, crud. Anyway, a lot. Hey, so Coach Cannon is going to be co-hosting with me. So I want to before we do a couple other things, I have a couple of questions. Remind everyone where you coach and that kind of stuff, Coach.
I'm an assistant varsity coach at Hawthorne High School in Hawthorne, New Jersey. I've been coaching for about 12 years. I do it all year round, AAU, travel, rec, high school. I've been a high school girls coach for the last 10. The last 2, I've been a boys assistant.
Okay, so people that are listening, I'm in my office. Coach looks like he's in a sports card collecting.
Listen, I collect. I collect. That's what I do.
You do?
Yeah. Yep.
Oh,
Yep.
we're definitely gonna have to do. We'll do a side.
I'll bring out my vault one day. Yeah, we can go through.
You do cards?
Yep, I do cards.
What kind of cards you do?
I do football, basketball, little bit of baseball.
A little bit of baseball. My big one's basketball. I love
basketball because basketball took off in the last. I want to say the last.
Yeah, but I like the
years.
old. I like the old. Like
those are tough to find.
I know. I got a bunch of them too. They're in a vault, so don't rob me. But
So what happened was in the 80s, they hit like a junk wax era where baseball just started pumping out.
Unbelievable.
80s,
Crazy.
90s.
Yeah.
Basketball never really fell into that, so it kind of held its value.
But I'm talking like Pistol Pete.
You're talking late 60s, early 70s, probably. Yeah.
I have like a PS1, PS2 of Willie Mays and Jackie Robinson. I have some good cards.
You got them great. You got them graded out.
Yeah, I knew they weren't very good, but I knew they'd be worth more graded. So the Maze is a 1, but it's still worth a couple $100.
Doesn't matter. Yeah, I mean, there's probably only about 15 of them around.
There's only so many.
Yeah.
But no, I love the old stuff too. I know, and I've I see your jerseys in the back too. I have a bunch of guys that have played, and I just haven't gotten jerseys signed and stuff. I gotta get them for I tend to put them in a frame in the basement. But anyway,
you gotta get them in.
I gotta get them in. Okay, well, so we're gonna do a collection thing. Oh my god,
okay.
We're gonna do that because that I love that. That's a weird world. Anyway, but it's a fun world, actually.
It's blowing up now too. They've gotten some of the younger kids since COVID. They've gotten some of the younger people.
Yeah, I don't go on because if I go on, I'm gonna buy something. I can't look like, oh, I need that one, and then I'm like obsessed about it for a week. I just can't. I gotta take gaps from it. But going back to what I was saying with podcast, I don't even know what number we're gonna be on when we do this topic, but there's this whole AI thing now that people are cloning people's voices and trying to scam people and relatives and stuff. So I've let all my family members, I have like 3,000 hours worth of audio on the internet. It would not be hard for them to get my voice.
Yeah, you're ripe fruit.
If dad ever calls and says something's wrong, hang up and call back.
I fell for it. I watched one of the things on Instagram, like a Luca interview, and I was like, "Wow, he really said that."
Nope.
I felt like an old person at that point.
I know. It's so true. So before we jump into today's topic, which is we're going to talk about having a guy. Let me give
girl
or gal, guy or gal, player, the player. We'll refer to it as the player. Like big shout out to my 2 sponsors. First of all, Dr. Dish, the #1 shoe machine on the market, bar none. Mention me, mention Coach Collins, mention High School Hoops. They will take really good care of you. I'll tell you a story. We were shooting in the gym, and this kind of stuff happened before they were sponsors, but one of my screens, I couldn't get like nothing. It wasn't working. I had a replacement screen in like 3 days because it was still under warranty. It was crazy. Because I need it in the summer. Shoot, during the middle of September when they're in school, I don't need it as much. They were really good. So mention me, they'll take good care of you. And then also go over and check out teachhoops.com for coaches who want to get better. By the time you're listening to this, the whole website will have changed. I'm not even going to talk about it because it's going to be crazy. I will talk about it in October probably. But it's going to be, yeah, there's lots of changes. There's going to be basically 2 types of memberships. Yeah, the behind the scenes stuff is crazy good. I've been collecting it for years. All right, so having a person, I've had a few people. That's always good to have people.
Yeah, you have.
There's 2 types of coaches with players and ex-coaches.
Yep.
But you wrote, how does it change your approach? What'd you
Man, well, it started for me listening to the question with the Celtics winning the title and whose team is this and how the coach had to deflect. And obviously on a pro level, it's different. On a college level, it's even different. You know, it's a little bit less out of your hands. But with a high school team, feels nice to have that kid walk in the gym. But I feel like it changes the game a little bit. It changes the power dynamic of the team, and you need to be careful because who knows what type of a guy it is.
Yes. So I'm going to tell you. So there's a couple things. First of all, when that guy is your hardest worker and your best player and your best, it's easy. I've had a couple of those. It's like literally, I've told stories that in interviews. It's like literally my mom could coach that team. Like it doesn't matter. Like here you go.
Yeah. He's setting the standard. He's setting.
Doesn't matter. He sets the stand. Everything just as the water rises, the boat rises. It's crazy. I've also had really good ones that literally want to make me quit coaching.
Those are the ones
those are the ones that are like you just come, like, oh, in retrospect, I should have exercised more. I should have had a massage once a week. I should have done stuff to chill myself, but I didn't. It's too young. But I am convinced, at least to be, because I've had national ranked teams, I've won state championships, to be in that discussion. I mean, you can be the best coach in the world and you can have a really good team. And you can get lucky, don't get me wrong, but those are rare. Those are unicorns. If you want to make a run at the thing and you want to be like that team, you have to have a person. You have to have the one where it's tied, there's 2 minutes, and the ball is going to be in their hands. No matter what you draw up, that's what's going to happen. I am convinced that could be a pro and a con, because if you got one, you better ride it. But if a con is if you don't have one, I'm just being real. It's really hard at the highest level in each state, I'm guessing, to win it all unless you have. I mean, I just go back and look at our last 20 state championships in our biggest division in our state. Every one of them had a person at the boys level.
And at what point do you does the guy take over your system, or does the system cater to the guy? At what point do you kind of like shift your coaching and what we're doing?
You got to get out of their way, in my opinion. You got to get out of their way. You got to you got to simplify. And the good thing is when you really have one of those players, everyone knows. Every kid in that gym, like even number 2 through 7 know, even though they will never admit it, they know. Like that's our person. We're going to go like there.
And in your experience, have you found that the kids have settled into their roles?
Yes, it takes a while.
Okay.
And one of my really good ones, I think it was like in 2009, the best one backed off for the second one, because the second one thought they were the best one, backed off and let the second one shine for 3/4 of the season. Swear to God, just let him shine. And then when we needed number 1, he just took over. Like there was a game in the state semis, I think, just took over. Like, no, we're not going to lose this. Or you give me the ball. Like, no, like, and that's
and now you're on the side. Are you changing your play calls to go to the hot hand, or are you just saying, hey?
I think that's where you got to simplify it. And I think, God, I think I was even running flex with that team because it didn't matter what I ran. It was more I was trying to slow them down because they were so talented and so good that it was like if I let them free, like any one of them could have just taken the ball at any given time. But I do think you have to tweak the yes, the all your play calls should be for that person at the end. Like all of your quick hitters, your out of bounds plays, your ISOs.
His bad shot becomes an we'll live with that shot.
His like if you rank it from 1 to 10, his 6 is everyone else's 9.
Okay,
because they're just that good. Like,
and I was also wondering how many coaches have thought they've had the guy handed it over, and then that guy can run your program.
And it's not the guy doesn't necessarily win the whole thing for you either. It's usually 5 through 9 that are one of those guys is going to step up and win it for you. Like they're going to have that one game in that 8-game stretch. They're at their B level, but all of a sudden this kid that was the 7th man hits.
He's like barely mentioned on the scouting report. Yeah.
Yes. Boom, 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 boom. And it's always those kids. Like every state championship we've won, I can name the kid and the spot where it's like they stepped up. They just stepped up. And that's why I would tell coaches that are listening to this, you really like, I know it's a cliche, but the top, first of all, you never start your best 5 usually anyway. I don't. I start the best 5 together. Number 6 might be better than number 4, but whatever. I don't.
Yeah.
Like 6 might play more coming off the bench, but that's where you and I tell people this is where injuries and foul trouble during the regular season you got to lean into. Because let's say an injury happens or a foul trouble happens, that's just pull the next kid because you don't know when you're going to need 6 through 10. And it kind of forces your hand to figure out where they're falling. So, if you get 2 fouls in the first half, I tend to sit you. And I do that especially early in the season just because it forces me to play more kids and it forces me to see how they're going to step up or not step up.
And I think it teaches that kid, hey, don't foul early in the game. Like
it's just stupid. Why are you reaching 35 feet from the basket?
And I feel like if you keep him in, he's like, all right, coach is going to keep me
doesn't
in.
Matter, doesn't
okay.
matter.
He'll roll with me.
But you teach him, it's just a ding, ding, ding. And then it forces me. I mean, I'd play 5 guys. I'd play my 5 best if I could. But like last season was one of my worst seasons ever. And it was because my starting 5 played 2 games together. And I had 3 of my top 7 out most of the season. It's like, well, okay, were we playing pretty good basketball at the end of the season? Yeah, because we started getting healthy but it took us just.
And now the other kids had minutes.
They already had minutes, and I knew what they could do, and I knew what they couldn't do. Is sometimes the bigger thing too. But going back to the guy, yes, there is. It's what's the expression? It's not about the X's and O's, it's about the Jane and Jims and Joes or something, or whatever it is. It's like it's all about how they mesh. Like you can have the best team if they're not meshing. I've seen really good players, but then the rest of the other 8 guys don't look like they even want to play with them.
And I feel like the other thing is, at what point does it? It's kind of an ego thing from a coach's perspective. You're not handing the team over to that person per se, but you're kind of like you said, you're getting out of the way. And
you're getting out of the way. You're not over coaching, is what I'm saying. Yes. If you have a talented, like as a math teacher, if I have a talented person in my class, I'm going to challenge them. I'm going to push them. But I'm also going to give them some freedom that I'm not worried about, problem 12 on the homework because I know they could do that in their sleep.
Yeah.
But I'm going to give them things that are going to challenge them. But yes, you can. I think it might have been one of my former coaches. I remember when I had one of my first studs, and he says, "Don't overcoach Steve. Don't overcoach him." Like Steve Kerr's like perfect with that. When he had all that talent, he didn't overcoach them. He let them be. He let Clay be Clay and Steph be Steph and Green be Green.
And unfortunately, Draymond be Draymond.
Yeah, but he did. He had to a little bit.
They needed him.
They needed him. I mean, most teams that win have one of those. Maybe not quite to the extreme of him, but yeah, I think that's a direction that you can definitely go down. I think,
and I like the thesis of this that when you have the guy, don't overcoach, and just kind of. You're not putting everything on autopilot, but you can take your hands off the wheel a little bit.
Yes. And if they're not gelling, then that's when you got to get involved. If they're gelling and everyone likes them and they're a great teammate,
now you're talking about a perfect scenario.
That's a unicorn, baby. Enjoy that. Enjoy that. Take lots of pictures because you'll want to look back at that when you're my age. All right. Anything else, Coach?
No, I really like that. Just don't overcoach and let the guy do his thing.
And find one. That's by being my advice. Find the guy or gal. And
I like it.
You'll win a lot more games, trust me.
Hey, Coach, so glad you enjoyed the video. I hope you enjoyed it a lot. Actually, if you did, subscribe and like, and then go over and check out teachhoops.com for coaches who want to get better.